And so we return back to the one Sept of the Heart's Fire, Duluth, Minnesota. It's one small, young Ragabash Juno Timmins makes her way after doing her usual routine in no particular order. She makes her way back onto the Sept and makes her way down, walking past her usual place of stay. Further down the road, cigarette in hand as per usual. And she goes up to where Lena's house is. No real kind of shyness about it, just walking straight up, fingers, hands in pockets even. She will go up and just, rap her knuckles on the door.
Yeah, eventually someone answers.
Donna? Donna?
Eventually your mom answers the door.
Juno half smile. Mother?
Nods. Did you
And
need something?
I was wondering if Maria is still here.
She is.
May I come in and see her?
Just shrug. I step to the side.
Smiles a bit. Walks in. Walks past her. And where is Maria? Is she like immediately in sight or?
You will see her by the kitchen. Your aunt.
Donna? Oh no.
She's by the kitchen.
Oh, fuck. She will walk into the kitchen.
Let me just again. There, not as elegant as when she first arrives, but she's still in nice enough clothes. Everything's clean and well kept. She's just sipping idly from a drink. You do get the distinct impression Lily is here somewhere because, well, this is again Lily's mother.
And does she look up at all when Juno enters the room or not?
No, she just seems to be. She's reading something, but taking a drink very casually.
And Juno will, come in. See Maria sit there. She doesn't look up immediately. She will kind of just walk over to one of the chairs at the table she sat at and just stand behind it at first.
She'll eventually won't look up, but she'll turn the page. Yes.
Wondering if we could just have a talk, right? A few things I just wanted to ask you.
Sure. What do you wish to talk about?
That she'll now being acknowledged will take a seat, slowly sit down, just kind of sit there, get comfortable. With obviously a few things going on, and I was wondering what you knew about what's going off with these. If you knew anything first of all about these gangs, bikers.
No.
Hmm.
Or has
They
to come from The gossip is that they come from the east, apparently, according to these people. Gestures around. Obviously, it by means is the Sept.
I just thought I'd ask in case they were from up north or something like that.
No,
And I'm gonna
they're
guess.
too urbanized to be from up north.
She just nods. I guess that's the same with the pack that's coming down.
She just
Great.
nod slowly.
She, nods, just kind of like, okay, fair enough. How are things up in Wolfsmaw?
Depends on who you ask. Border troubles and more trying topics are needed. Kin are needed, and therefore kin are responding to a need.
Border troubles.
Of course, we are a new Cairn. We are Cairn, a small one. Do you know? There is always border troubles. Particularly up north. You and your sept have the luxury of remaining fairly isolated away from some of the Cairns and the other septs.
Just out of question, would you know what Cairn is north of Wolfsmoor or not? Would Juno know what Cairn is north of Wolfsmoor or not, or with whatever they're having border troubles with? Would she know like the general location of Cairns nearby? Or
there's a Black Fury sept. There is Canada, which is Wendigo land, and Red Talon land.
she just nods again. Canada side or?
We don't know yet. There's just been trouble. Logging companies, the usual. That's why we need a fresh reimbursement of kin to help us get some fresh eyes and ears. It is nothing too serious yet.
No. I didn't think it was, but I did hear a few things about it.
I'm sure you did.
But now that I guess for the formal stuff is out the way, formal things I was planning on asking anyway.
Just nods idly.
I was wondering a few things about Dad, actually.
What are you curious about?
My father.
And what of him?
Obviously, just wondering what he was actually like as a Garrow. Now, there is the curtain that the kin don't see.
Has my sister not told you?
She's mentioned things, but it's always nice to get everybody's opinion, especially those who are so closely related.
Ajax was a good Arun. Ajax knew war like any Galliard knows a tale, or a Ragabash knows a trick, or a Philodox knows a law, or Theurge knows the Umbra. War was his trade, and he did it very well.
Yeah. And then the whole thing with that Ken as well.
What thing?
Uh, One that involved Patama.
That's a name I've not heard in a while. That was an argument that spiraled out of control, like what happens when most people provoke an Arun's rage. It is regrettable, but there was no enjoyment taken out of it. It was a frenzy. Most things like that are very hard to control and hard to predict when they're going to happen.
Do you know what he was actually provoked by?
A rage is rage. An argument can turn into provocation, can turn into many different things. The curse holds many sways, and the Aruns are the most riled by it.
Were you there?
It's easy to make a snap judgment call when someone frenzies, and you have to try control them. And that can be very difficult. One swipe, and it can take a life. It's easy to be judgmental after the fact.
It is. Were you there for when he lost it at that argument?
Yes. If I recall, the argument got personal, and Ajax's temper was never fully controlled. And unfortunately, that day, the beast ran true. Thankfully, it was not a thrall, but it was a frenzy.
Even a frenzy's nothing to no. It's chaos.
It is. And a kin died in the chaos, as sometimes that will happen.
That was her mate, right?
Nods.
How did the argument turn personal?
As all arguments do. Insults, pettiness, bitterness, rage. All arguments eventually turn one way or another.
And yeah. How long? Actually stops for a second and thinks. How long was that before he died?
10 years?
10 years.
I want to say. You were still very young.
Yeah, no. It's kind of like the eyebrows didn't raise. Like even Maria can see it on her face. Like she was not expecting that long of a time. 10 years. Right.
Hmm.
And obviously,
People forget that.
oh,
People forget how young you are, and Lena too. Lena was still only very young when she joined us.
yeah. So I think sometimes we all forget how old some of us are. That's a long time. And obviously, Tema did what she did, but was that recent as well? The where she left, where she danced.
Nobody had heard word from her for a long time. We assumed she died.
Was that in a raid battle?
She disappeared after one raid. We assumed that she was killed in the raid itself.
Hmm.
Nobody
And
had heard from her, and then, well, by the time your father had met his end, I was in Wolfsmoor already.
it came out of the smoke.
She spreads her hand.
I was trying to piece things together, that's all.
Just nod.
Because I know there's a lot of things gets missed. A first person account's always best to have.
Nods again.
Hmm. Do you know how no, no, that doesn't matter. Actually, one thing I have been curious about, it's cropped up again, but I don't know the history behind it. There's a lot of tension between families, especially on this set, for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
What I know about the tension between us and the Ulrichsons, it goes way back.
We've been feuding for a long time since part of this family came over here. Some second son murdered another son at a wedding. Escalated further, and each generation seems to bore new conflict. I said that in Europe, parts of the families do not collide. The ones in the old ways seem to hold their traditions far more stronger, but here the bitterness is far deeper. She shrugs idly, takes a bite of her meal.
Hmm. Did she just no? Not again. And grandfather, what was he like?
Who?
You're and dad.
He was a Galliard. Loud, vicious. Died back in the homelands trying to assist the Trimson home, original home set when Ajax and I were 25 and Lena was still young.
I'd always wondered. Father did mention him a few times. It's not like there's a book where you can just read up on all the family history.
And has Lena not taught you it?
I like to go back and read.
Just nods idly. Then again, Lena won't remember much about Father.
Oh?
He died when she was young.
She nods. Hmm. Very young, or? Was it very young?
Just shrug. Lena is 10 years younger than ourselves. So she is in her 30s. I am 40s. So Lena would have been early teens. She turned when she was 18.
Hmm.
She was Cleus by 19.
Huh.
Nobody expected Lena to turn. After all, your father and I were already grew at that point. But
He's
Lena changed on her wedding day.
her wedding day.
Walking down the aisle, if I remember correctly.
Jesus.
The nerves got to her, I think. Her husband, Ragnar, he died honorably fighting the worm 2 months after. Rumors at the time, and many gossips at the time, and many Galliards spoke that he could not take it. So he chose to die a Fenrir's death. They were very much in love. Young lovers and all that.
Um, things like that can have an effect. A pretty heavy one at that.
Just shrug. Lena knew the duties she had to carry out. And she does. She's still young. But she is your aunt. And she has carried our namesake well since your father's death. And my appointment to head up the new cairn up in the north.
She has.
shrugs.
Oh, seems just luck of the draw. It's nobody expects somebody to turn, and then all of a sudden it seems to happen. Happened with me too.
I know.
It's always interesting how she just kind of stops herself and never mind. It doesn't matter. I won't sit here and nag your ear off anymore, Maria.
She just nods. If that's what you wish.
Is there any records of family history or anything like that, though, that you know of?
Mostly passed through orally. The old ways, Juno.
It's always worth asking.
I'm sure there is somewhere, but mostly we were taught to pass down our word orally.
Sure, there's a lot of good stories out there.
There's a few.
Here's hoping I can find them. She starts to stand up.
Just nods.
Thank you for the time, Maria.
Nods again.
And, she'll nod respectfully and start to make her way out.
Emery doesn't say anything.
And she'll make her way out. Unless somebody body blocks, slams her, suplexes her.
I mean, if you're looking to chat to any other of the family.
I mean, who's here?
Samantha, Lily, and Lena.
No, not yet. No, she'll make her way out. I don't have anything I think off the top of my head I can ask them properly.
Okay.
Yeah, and she'll make her way out, make her way back towards her cabin.
Okay.
And if there's nothing else,
Nope.
all right, that's where the scene, short little scene, come to an end.